The businesses that are like most likely to succeed have at least 3 founders.
Choosing your business partner is almost the same as, choosing your life partner, getting married. So you really have to be careful.
You could have 100% of a small company, or you could have like 50%, 33% of like a huge company.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Driven. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the story of how we were able to scale our business quickly with 2 people. Now, 2 people.
Yep.
Why did we scale? Or why did we decide to go into business together? And I know we share the same backstory of, our parents and everything, but I think because we also had the same interest, huh?
Yeah, I think, and I think the interest in a way, it was just succeeding. I think honestly, it just derived from my parents, like just wanting to like retire them, and I think anything that we did revolved around that. And so starting a business was, at least back then, the easiest way to, at least in our head, probably getting a job, getting a career, and then maybe getting a job might have been, I don't know if it's easier or faster. It's kind of hard to tell because with a job you also don't know getting let go. But I think we just wanted to retire my parents so bad, so we were just really trying at business.
Yeah.
And I think because we had the exact same goals, I think that's why I think business was the most logical way to go about it. Because if we got jobs, like I would go to a job, you would go to a job, but then it's kind of like it's I don't know, it was different. So business is kind of like more like we had the exact same goals, and then we could really like navigate around, like you could see the world, going that way. Because I think at the jobs is very different.
Yeah.
And so I think business it was the most flexible and a way that we actually could retire my parents. Granted, we didn't know we were gonna succeed, but I think it just derived from there. I think it was the goals as to why we started the business together. And so I know maybe that, and luckily we just had the skills that complemented each other, and the business to have the business grow. Because I know it may not be the same for others. Because, like, let's say you're starting a business with your friend or brother, but then you guys have the exact same, like, skills. Like, either you're really good at, like, marketing and selling, but then there's no real good product or anything, or operations. That might not be go so far unless you're able to hire people that are able to do those other things.
Yeah, and I think it was a mixture of things, because I remember we didn't have the clear goal of, okay, we're gonna start a business. It just kind of fell into place. And going back to how you said that it was a mixture of things of our goal to help our parents, but then also the environment we were in, because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure, but I remember one thing you told me early on, and I remember I was still in high school, and you're like, man, I want to be a millionaire by 25. I remember that.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, that didn't. But I remember you telling me that, and I think it was you leading the way because you were out of high school.
Yeah.
So you had a lot more time to really think about, okay, what do I want to do next? Because I know, like me, still being in high school, it was always college, or like, you got to study and college. And I know you had more experience, getting exposed to the outside world, the real world.
Right. And
so I think it was more of you leading the way and me just absorbing all the information. It was like, man, this makes sense, man, like this, or, this doesn't make sense, or it doesn't make sense for me to continue doing this. So it's kind of, and I know you were telling me, hey, you should watch this video, or you should, go to this, or... Yeah, so I think it was you leading the way, and it was kind of like, I think everything fit together. It wasn't like, okay, we're gonna do step 1, and then after that we're gonna start a business, and then we're gonna do this,
right,
and then you're gonna do this part, and then I'm gonna do this part. So it was kind of like complementary. Right. It was a mixture of everything at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and then even before that though, I think obviously retire my parents, but I think everyone has this exact same feeling, or at least wants, is to be, you could say rich.
Yeah.
And so, and I guess, like the way that you said it, being exposed to like a different level of thinking, or a different type of thinking, rather than, going to college and whatnot. I think that's what really like, pushed or pushes or led in a direction that, was in business. And so, I mean, I think that's how we went about business. And then like, we're brothers. We had the exact same goal. So I think it just like you said, it just fell into place. It wasn't like anything that it wasn't like premeditated, or it wasn't something that we were planning for a long time. It just happened to be. It just came about. And like how I mentioned, I think it was just lucky that we just had I think we had similar skills, but we were able to learn other skills, because I know when we started, I was focusing on one part of the business, and then you were focusing on another part of the business. And so like I think it would be hard for just one person, although I think it's possible, but that individual would really have to put in the work and learn a lot of new skills. And then at some point, depending on how much they grow the business, hire people. But I think it makes it a lot easier having two, even probably three people. But I digress, because one of the things that I did here was that the businesses that are like most likely to succeed have at least three founders, because one of them is in charge of like the marketing and sales, the other one is like of the product, and then the last one, it's like the operations, the the finance aspect of the things. And so when you have those three things, it's kind of like the a chair with those three things. If you have those three things, like that creates a solid foundation to where like you can scale the business. And then also one of the things that you mentioned, that you mentioned about like not having to pay someone.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I did mention that, because if it's just you by yourself, you start a business, you're gonna have to do everything. Like you mentioned, if it's three people, you could share the work, and you have the expectation of maybe not getting paid immediately, but down the line as the business grows, sharing profits. But if you're by yourself, you're going to have to do everything. So you're going to have to do sales, you're going to have to do operations, you're going to have to do marketing, you're going to have to do everything that's involved to get the business up and running. And as the business grows, each one you're going to have to put more attention in. Right. So you're either going to have to get more people, or you're going to have to continue doing everything on your own and work every single day 24/7. So if you do get more people, you're going to have to pay them a lot. You're going to have to pay them maybe minimum wage, like whatever your minimum wage is. But as the skill set or, that position grows, when it comes to the difficulty of, someone having to do it, you're going to have to pay people pretty good amount. So if you do have partners, like ourselves, we didn't really have a salary towards the beginning. It was just like, if we need something to pay, to cover our expenses, then, we did that. And I remember for a few years, some of our workers were getting paid more than us.
Yeah, that was actually for a good amount of the time that like the majority was, if not everyone, was getting paid more than us.
Yeah, we were just paying our bare necessities, and we were just focusing. Okay, both of us could hold off on getting profits or getting money like just a little bit more down the line, because it was important for us to get the right people.
Yep.
And so, just having us two like allowed us to save money like up front of, okay, let's hold off on getting paid, and then later on we're just gonna share the profits.
Yeah, and then that's exactly as to why I think, or one of the reasons as to why the business grew so fast, because we weren't taking money out. We were just taking out for like you mentioned, the necessities, the food and whatever it was, the necessities. And I think that's what allowed the business to grow, because then I know we could buy more inventory. Because, from the very beginning, like, we were able to just, continue buying without really getting into debt. Buying inventory, buying equipment. And I think that's what really, one of the things that catapulted the business, that really allowed it to grow. Because I know sometimes when you take too much money out, like, it's hard to purchase inventory, or it's hard to, like, buy other equipment unless, you go into debt. But I think that's one of the reasons why, so our skill set was one of them, or pretty much divvying up the work, you doing, one part and I'm doing the other part. And then also like the fact that we were able to not take a lot of money out from the business, and which allowed it to grow, buying equipment, hiring people. Because I don't think we were ever at a place or at a stage where we were really struggling with cash flow or anything like that. And I think that's what allowed, one of the reasons, or one of the things that allowed it to grow.
And it goes back to the reason why we were able to do that is because we had the right people. Or the right people meaning, me and you as the co-founders, as, starting the business. Because I do believe, or I've also heard it, but that choosing your business partner is almost the same as choosing your life partner,
Right.
getting married. So you really have to be careful, because let's just say both of us decided to start a business. One of us decides to do all the work, or is willing to do all the work, but then the other one starts slacking. You're always gonna you're gonna have resentment, and you're gonna be like, dude, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
you gotta pick up your shit. You gotta
Yeah.
step up your shit. And so you really have to choose the right person, and you really do have to be careful. Because another example, one of the our workers, or one of the people we work with, again, started his business, did it with a friend, and then the friend didn't do anything.
Yep.
So it's all like, you really do have to be careful.
And then also, like, kind of like moving on from that, or kind of adding to that, and I think what allowed the business to grow also was, not just that, we were able to divide the work, we were able to like hold off on taking money out of the business, but I think we had this, and with that, I think it's because we had the same goals.
Yeah.
Because just imagine having another co-founder, or another like or two other co-founders that have different goals, like they
Yep.
need money, or they want to withdraw money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and you wanting to hold off on it, or you want to grow the business, or someone might want to reap the benefits,
Yeah.
like now. So I think because we had the same goals, I think that's what also allowed it. Because I know, like, we had three different people, or like two
Yep.
different people with like completely different goals. It might be hard to navigate the business.
Yep.
It might get stuck as to like, you don't know where to go because of the different goals that you guys have. And
Yep.
I do kind of like with Quest.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yep.
What is it? Tom Bill, and then I think there was two other ones,
Yep.
right? They had like different goals, or they have different directions, or they have different ideas of where the business should go.
Yep.
Whether it be media, whatever it was, and they weren't agreeing. But that was at the stage where Quest was really doing really well,
Yep.
and, at the top. And so at that point they were like, what, it's we can't decide on where to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's the and the business is doing really well. It's the perfect time to sell, and so they sold.
Yep.
But with that, I feel like if they had similar goals, they could have grown it even more.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. But yeah, I think because we also had the same goals, the founders had similar principles,
Mm-hmm.
goals, and I think morals too. And so I think because it all aligned, it's what also allowed it to grow. We were going in the same direction, as opposed to spreading the going different ways, which would not
Mm-hmm.
allow the business to grow.
Yeah.
If that was the goal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's also because we had the same goals, why it allowed us to grow.
I agree with the co-founding. I think it's also important because, a lot of people, including myself early on, I would think that, man, why would I want to share like the profits, or why would I want to share the business with someone else when I could have 100% of it?
Yeah.
But, as my knowledge expanded, and, as I got more experience, I realized that the way you're going to grow to a bigger stage, you can't really do it on your own.
Yes, because with one person, I mean, unless you're like a really like exceptional, which I think a lot of the cases, that's not the case. I think you're just limited to to your own thinking, to your own experiences. You're just limited to yourself, and unless like you're like how I mentioned, you're like someone really ultra exceptional, I think the business is gonna be limited to your own abilities.
Yeah.
And then what was the question?
That I know a lot of people want to have 100% of the business, but if you have multiple people sharing within it, more could get done, and it's gonna be bigger. Like, why would you want to have 100% of 100,000 when you can have 30%, or like if it's 3 people, split it down, 33% of like a million, 10 million.
It's kind of like, would you rather have 50% of a $10 million dollar company, or would you have 100% of a let's say $1 million company?
Yeah.
It's kind of, you could have 100% of a small company, or you could have like 50%, 33% of like a huge company. And so it's kind of like what, and then with that also, like with you owning 100% of it, you are responsible 100%.
Yep.
When it comes to like everything.
Yep.
And as opposed to the other one, you have some like help, I guess you could say. It's not just you, which the company it isn't about you. It's about the company itself, and we all work for the company. The co-founders, the people working there, everyone works for the company. And so I think with your just yourself, I think you're just limited to yourself. You'll have 100% of it, but 100% of what, as opposed to having 3 people that complement each other's skills, growing into a big stage, and then having a percentage of that. That's kind of and also not having as much you could say, I don't want to say responsibility, but I guess responsibility.
Just to sum it all up, I know we said that the reason why we scaled quickly with both of us is because we shared the work, we shared the responsibilities, we had the same vision.
Yeah, and then also like how you mentioned that we had a similar direction or similar thought or ideas as to where the business should go. Because if we had different ones, I don't think the business will go anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I think adding on to that, it's that one too.
And so with that was just pretty much how we scaled quickly with 2 people. Just how we went about it, and where we are today when it comes to that. And if you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and we'll do our best to respond. But with that being said, this has been another episode of Driven. My name is Alexis.
My name is Juan.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.